we get paid between 90 to 120 days or sometimes more here and there based on market situation. However, we pay by the end of the month, less than 30 days. So as the business starts to grow, the amount of money that is ours sits in the receivable. And that becomes a bottleneck for growth. Given that, so what do? So we need to raise more funds to be able to do that. So one option is go to equity, but given that all these situations that we are trying to sort out, that option we are not going after. So we are trying to get a line of credit which will help roll some of that money. So you might have read about people talking about the line of credit or whatever. So that's what we are trying to do. So in order to do that, we feel the best place to do that would be the US. So hence we are consolidating 12 subsidiaries which are outside of India under one for the sake of reporting is much simpler. So this gets very cumbersome. It's been taking time for us to report. 2, it becomes easy for the world to see what we do. It's easy for the lenders to see what we do. For them to see the flow of cash and all the good stuff that goes to one bank makes it much easier. And so that process is on. We started to work on that almost in January, February. We signed up somebody, big audit firm out of New York. There have been some delays here and there, but that's been, asking for information. We've been providing them a lot of clarifications about the business, about our history, about the financials, everything. So in that process, it has been very good for us, and we've actually been sharing some of the clarifications also with the public, with all of you. You might have seen a barrage of, updates from us during the COVID time, where everything was shut off. We were continuously sending out every 3, 4, 5 days. And it has actually been a very nice experience that we got a good feedback from people, got a lot more clarity about what we do. I'll stop at that and then we'll come back to your other questions anyway. So that is that. Then coming to LYCOS and DOM settlement, we were in January, we had a settlement agreement ready to sign. We were to pay the first payment in January, and there was a challenge in terms of handing off a cashier check and taking a signed agreement. And that's where it stopped. Unfortunately, due to all the things, we couldn't go to Korea, they couldn't come to India, all these things, kind of in a standstill state. And so that is where it is. We are trying to revive that now. But it's probably best to go one shot and close it instead of having this two-phase process. Once this funds are available, it's best to go across and actually close it. So we are in that discussion right now, and I feel very strongly this is a done deal. There's nothing to be concerned about. And we will immediately let you know as soon as we have a solution there. And there's a lot of questions about how long is it going to take. It's like saying how long will, this is a discussion between two parties, which is already done. It's just a matter of getting, few things lined up and closing it. So in my view, it is very, very close, except that, it all depends upon either we make the first payment now and then wait for the line of credit to come, or get the line of credit, sit across and see if we can do even better. So that is where we are right now. So I don't think the members need to be too concerned about it. I think it's a very good place. I would not be very concerned about it. The second thing that also came up was the Canara Bank loan. Given the history about it, we had 3 loans way back, I think even as early as last year, with SBI, with Canara Bank, and with Axis Bank. Axis Bank, I'm sorry. Canara Bank is already paid off in last year. SBI also was paid off. Only Axis Bank is only pending. And we had a settlement agreement with Axis Bank about 2 years ago. However, because we were making multiple payments, this thing got sidetracked, and there was an understanding between us and the management at that time of the bank to continue the payment and clear it off. So on that, it was settled at 22.5 crores. We have paid almost, I think, 14.5. 6 crores are left from that settlement. But it is past. Time is past. Hence, what has happened is the management with whom we had this understanding, they have moved on and there have been some changes within the ranks. The new people have come and they are saying it's taken so long with this passing. So they are trying to figure out a new settlement number, which is where we are. So however, as banks go, the way they work is they always have a legal sidetrack that keeps going on. So they were trying to put pressure on us or have leverage points through properties that were under the loan, and those have been removed because of the payments we made. And now the next step, they don't have too much leverage. They wanted to do something so that they have some leverage for us to move faster and close, which we are also intending to do. However, it's a matter of figuring out the price. So we are in that process, and in that process, at the company law tribunal, they filed in January. And it was absolutely no issue at all. There's zero issue on that, I can assure you that. And there was no reason to be concerned, and so we did not think it was an issue. It was just a matter of due process that they were playing because it was not accepted at all. So my lawyers argued, and then they asked them to make their first argument. And then the COVID came and this thing got stuck. No courts in Telangana state are all working. So the bank's lawyer got creative, and then he put in a new order to actually go and open it. They're saying they call it expedite. They're saying, can we open it again? So that is what started circulating in some circles, and hence there is some questions around that. And we have just on 30th of June, we had, the court met through video, and then they are taking a call whether it should be expedited or not. Either way, there is nothing to be concerned. It's a matter between 8 crores or some 20 odd crores that they're asking, and it is nothing to be concerned upon. I can personally guarantee you there is no issue, 100%. That is something I wanted to put it out there so that people get some comfort. Because when you use the name of the tribunal, a lot of people start, getting concerned and worried about it. So hence, I wanted to get that out there. Next point is coming to the business side. Bunch of conferences. Busy Day conference in Croatia, the government was postponed, and then Mobile World Conference in Spain was postponed as well, due to the same reason. But our teams have actually met through video conferencing and have been working very hard and trying to continue to develop business and continue to grow that. So on this note, I would like to tell you that as it stands today, with our business that we have, if we had the additional 9, all we have to switch on is from the business we are doing, we can do between 25 to 30% immediately. Immediately, that is available business that can flow through the system if we had the additional working capital. So the problem is not operational in terms of execution. The problem has been the limit on the amount of working capital that is available. Hence, this line of credit becomes very critical on a lot of angles for the company, and we are working diligently and trying to get that done. And I know a lot of people want an update on it. I would like to tell you it is moving very smoothly. Majority of the BD stuff is out of the way, but still, we are waiting for the final confirmation letter to come. And once the confirmation letter comes, then the legal documentation starts, which is just a process, after which, disbursement of funds. That is how the process stands right now. Now, if you want a timeline on that, I don't want to give a timeline that I have no idea in terms of, we have seen it move very quickly in the last 2 months, very, very quickly. So I'm very positive that it will move at the same pace and we should see results very quickly. That's all I can say right now. And then coming to another challenge, another issue a lot of people were concerned about is the impairment. We gave a very detailed explanation about impairment. Again, this has nothing to do with the LOC. It is more to do with what we want to do with this company There's nothing, because this was not required for us to apply for LOC because we're at a very late stage. That is, we're doing it because what we want to do going forward with this company, this becomes very critical. So it's like, if you don't exercise, you build up fat. Or over a period of time, some fat builds up. So there is a way, and I don't know how good an analogy this is, but as you're building products, and as you're building platforms, and as you're growing, and as you're navigating through a fast-changing tech business, a lot of things have to shift very quickly, and some products do stay there, and we are not sure when we will be using them. And from an accounting practice, it's best to go back and see if we should remove some of them. Or if there is some advance that we have given it to some publisher, and suddenly his business will slow down and there's a trickle that is happening, it's a good idea to take it off instead of having, so that's what we have done this year. And not to say that we don't do this, we do testing for this impairment every year, it's not that. But this year, given COVID and given what we want to do with the future of the business, we took the knife out to a larger extent to make sure it is more than extra safe in terms of moving forward. We are more nimble, and it is not a problem at all, because if you look at 3,200 crores after that, it really doesn't matter. It is actually a good thing that we cleaned up. We look much more nimble and more presentable as we go forward. That is the view that we took, and we really believe that it's going to help the business actually move in a much more graceful way and much more easier way going forward. That is that. And then let me see if there are any other questions I missed out. I have almost 28 questions I got from all of you. And let me see anything else left. There is one timeline about the audit. Yes, I think I already covered that. Let me see. Yeah, there are a couple of questions on the business side. Interesting, actually. What are we doing on the AI, and what is our relationship with EdgeCase? EdgeCase is a sister concern. It is not owned by Brightcom, if that is the question. But we have an arrangement. Once we reach a certain stage, certain milestones, we will have a stake in this company. So that is already put in place. We have agreements in place, and then we are working together to grow their business as well as our AI. That is the relationship with EdgeCase. Coming to pledge details, yes, I think we just published that. I'm sure some of you might have seen it. That is there. Then there are a couple of questions about promoter salary not reflecting on the books of the Indian balance sheet, because the salary is taken through a subsidiary, and the subsidiary reports it. It's not getting consolidated. That's where it is. Hence, there's no other reason. Because Vijay Kancharla lives in the US, I'm traveling to India. That is where it is. So I don't think, and it's not a huge amount. It is, I believe, reasonable amount. I believe, so it's not a big problem in my view. Coming to other questions here. Okay, transcripts of conference calls. We will start publishing once the settlement agreement is along the sector exchange. That's about all I had. So I will open up for questions, and I request the organizers to have it till 6:15. Let's give everybody at least half an hour time to ask questions so that we cover most of the things.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and 1 again. First question comes from Praveen Kurana, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Reddy.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, thanks very much. Just a couple of questions. The first was, in January, you recalled you had mentioned about an orderly exit for Oak in their investments.
Correct.
Did that go awry somehow, or what really happened where that they didn't honor?
I know this question has been sent also. I'm in two minds, sir, to answer that because it involves another party. I'm not sure if I can talk about.
Okay. Then don't.
Beyond that,
sensitive, then.
At a very high level, I can tell you, whole relationship has been there for a long time. They're not like the other teams. This is what we informed the market earlier. The other teams who actually destroyed the value of the company by actually continuously hitting the low circuit. You can see they are not doing that. They are trying to figure out a way. And I think they are lining up, we lined up some, they are also lining up some blocks that they are able to get rid of. I don't think they are going to do any damage to the stock. So I'm not very concerned. We continue to figure out how we can, because good news is once some big holders such as Oak is actually forced to sell, not because of any reason, because they're closing down their fund, goes away.
I understand.
That proverbial, sword on your neck goes away. It's good for the company.
Right.
So that's where we are very actively working to sell. But however, the stock price changed, a lot of things happened. That's all I can do.
I see. Because, our understanding, I think, was that 30th of June, the fund was winding up and they had to exit by that particular period of, by that date as such. So obviously, then maybe that might not be the case.
I didn't understand the last part, sorry.
Some of the shareholders were under the impression that the fund holding the stock had to wind up by the middle of June, which is why they had to get rid of the investment because the tenure or the period was over.
But yeah, they are on the way up. This particular fund, I think it's called Fund 14 inside Oak, and pretty much they are winding down, and the fund life gets over. So that's how private equity firms work.
Right.
So they invest, they wait for so many years, and then they have to return the funds back to their LPs. It's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think it's any other issue because they have been very supportive all through, and I believe they will continue to be sensitive to the stock and the company.
I see. Okay. Just two quick additional points. I've also been reading on the forum. The audit of the Israeli company, Online Media Solutions, is that done by Ernst & Young? And is that an ongoing annual audit that they conduct?
Absolutely. It is done every year by Ernst & Young. And sometimes the audit report, actually in the past we have challenges, but the audit report, and they also, their year-ending is marked as well. When we acquired all these companies, we changed the year-ending for all of them. And
too much. Nice.
They take longer than, because it's a private company, and what happens with us. And so we go with the numbers. Numbers have never changed. It's just that we got the reports later. And obviously, auditors have to put it in there. It's nothing else. So we have audit reports done by for our list, which is almost 38% of the company.
Right. Fine. So the last question, if you don't mind, is these 12 subsidiaries that you are consolidating.
Yes, sir.
Will this be put under the umbrella of a new company that will be incorporated, or would it be one of the existing companies that becomes a kind of a holding company?
It will be a new company which will be 100% held by the parent, which is us.
I see. Fair enough.
Just structure, sir. Nothing to
I see. And of course, and you hope to obviously complete that exercise within the next few months.
That is the easiest part. The part we are trying to do is get those all together under one, putting all the finance statements for this time. Yeah, correct.
And would that also then entail an audit of that with BDO Global, who have been appointed?
Yeah, we were trying to get we basically have try to get an audit report from a very renowned New York-based audit firm.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Patrick Matthias, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Suresh.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Please go ahead. I'm good. So I had a question which has been partly answered. So extension to that on LOC. Have we already formed the entity that is needed to consolidate? If not, do we form it after the LOC is cleared? Second is that since there is some dependence of the LOC on the DOM interdependence, on the DOM closure, if at all, then what are the type of timelines that tentatively we can assume or expect in terms of LOC being approved and made workable or functional? That's question number one. Yeah, sure.
We have approval already. It has already been approved. Now, what is the stage 2 is based on the information and what they call a note that we put together, they approve it. Once it is approved, stage 2 is they want to verify facts, which is the due diligence process, as you well aware, Patrick. So the due diligence process is on. And parallelly, we are doing this 12 companies under one, but these are not interconnected. While it is good practice because we may not just close with this one LOC, we want to continue to go forward. So we said it is a smart thing to do. In fact, if you want to do something going forward, this will be a good option to have. So this and this are independently happening. Okay, that is number one. Number two, connection to DOM. Right, we do have funds. Obviously, part of it has to be used for payment of access. Part of it has to be paid for initial payment of DOM. So we are trying to see should we have a parallel track in case we should try to have a parallel track. But I feel very confident that we are fairly close to the LOC, and we just have to step through those stages. And I would not. I mean, if you want to give me an exact timeline, I would not be able to, because given how these things work and where the world is. But I am a lot more confident, lot more closer in my view than last conversation we had to this call. We are much closer. I feel confident that we are, and the point is it is approved. We got approval, the BD process has started. So it is moving very quickly.
Okay. Can I ask the second question, please? A short one.
No, go ahead, please.
Yeah. On DOM, is it possible at all to conclude DOM without a physical meeting?
It is possible, obviously. It is possible that you have to trust them and they have to trust us. It's not like they ask us to send the money. My worry is we send the money and then they don't sign and send. What do? We ask them to send the signed settlement to us, and then we say we send the money. Then they don't trust us. So it's one of those situations. Usually, best case is you sit across the table, you sign, you do the draft or do a transfer across the table, and it is done in presence of lawyers. We are not able to do that. Then we said, let us figure out a way to do it through the New York lawyer and have somebody go there to drop off a cashier's check. But somehow, right when we got close to it, New York just went through the roof in terms of number of new COVID cases. And we didn't feel comfortable to have anybody even fly into New York at that time. Because people who can get the cashier's check and go there are in Boston. And it's kind of hit the roadblock. But I don't think, it's so much to be concerned about. We'll get there.
Okay. And access debt, you mentioned that as per the earlier OTS, we have to pay around 8 crores, whereas Access is asking possibly for 20 crores. But if there is a parallel discussion that is going on Access debt outside of the court, then between the court process and the parallel conversations or discussions that is going on, can we expect that this issue gets sorted out in the next?
We are working very hard, I can assure you that, Patrick, to get all these issues sorted out as soon as we can. We have no reason to delay any one of them. Sometimes you run into a hard place in terms of negotiation. But now I think we are more motivated with respect to access to get this off our back because we had enough of this nonsense and we try to figure out a way to get that out. In fact, we were to talk before the 30th also, but at the end of month, the executives were busy with the year-end closing and all that. And now we're starting conversation. So it's very much in the play. We have been talking to them. There's no, and we as soon as something happens and if there is a settlement, I will inform the market and immediately just to give comfort.
Okay.
I will make sure the information goes on right. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Shankar Rao, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
So, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Please tell me.
Yeah, congrats for good and stable numbers, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I have actually little few questions, sir. Just read me. There is an impairment loss of 800 approximately out of 3,000 crores total assets, which is equal to maybe more than 22%. I think so.
Right.
Yeah, and one more thing. How much time it will take to sit around the table with Dom sir to sign an agreement and pay? How much time? I think from now it may take 1 month, 2 months to sign across the table. And another question, sir. And I'm extremely sorry I'm asking about this question because it is a
legitimate question. Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry I'm asking this question because this. Yeah. There is some talks around forums on extra is there, like the figures which are showing in the statements does not exist. This is only on paper. Like talks are running forums.
Which figure?
How do you want to answer this, sir?
Which figure?
Yes, sir. Financial statements in forums there is a talk that statements whatever they are showing, earning per share 9 rupees and books value is 32 rupees, 3,400 crores is there.
Let me explain that.
Hello?
Yeah,
sir. Yeah. I'm sorry for asking this, but the rumors are coming.
No, rumors may come. That's fine. Let me explain what.
Yeah.
You should give me a chance to explain my side.
Because the rumors are coming because they are not providing unaudited balance sheet, consolidated balance sheet for not there.
No, we are providing an audited balance sheet. There is nothing.
Consolidated audit balance sheet.
And then I'm telling you 38%, in fact, is audited by EY. It just doesn't mean EY is the only great audit firm in the world. It's not like that. There are audit firms across the world which do the job without the. That is number one. So EY is doing 38%, which is coming from Israel. And that is audited. I'm telling you, we have audited. If you come to my office, I can share that. We have not published this for strategic reasons because of other reasons which I cannot share with you. But if you come to my office, or if you want to see it over a Zoom call, I can show you. If that is your problem. But I cannot answer every frivolous person who's across a WhatsApp or some board talking. It doesn't make sense for me. So please do understand. I'm responsible for the well-being of the funds that have been invested by 42,000 people. I cannot be available to answer every question everybody is there, but we can only do to an extent, and this is one attempt. Secondly, we are trying to continuously give clarification. If you look at since last quarter to this quarter, we have given maybe 8 different ways we have sliced and diced. And if you let us take one more, I'll tell you one more point that I want to tell you. This company was put together by acquisitions of 10 different companies. In fact, one of the presentations talks about that. We raised funds. There are legit funds. We have bought these companies which are audited by EY and then unconsolidated. So the point of I can't believe numbers is fine. I mean, if people want to say that, they have to say. I cannot say that. It is very common when the stock price is low. So we don't take that personal. It is okay. That is my answer to you.
Sir, my final question is, sir, in for future, another how much amount will be written off or any impairment loss will be there, sir?
There will be nothing written off. This was just, we are trying to get ready since we are trying to put a LOC together. We are trying to get ready for a fast growth, and we want to do certain things. We have some plans for the future for the company.
Yes, sir. So, could you tell me, sir, when you will sit around the table with Dom, sir?
Sorry?
When we will sit around the table with Dom to close the matter? How much time it will take?
You have to let me answer my first question, sir. Haven't you finished my first question? You can't keep asking me the next question, right? I'm giving you an answer to the first question. If you can listen to it, then I'll come to the next question, right? Are you satisfied with that answer?
No, sir. Actually, I had not heard, sir. I recently joined you.
Okay. The same thing I was just telling you. The cost of repeating, I just told you that everything is in place. We have a settlement agreement. We are trying to get the DOM agreement settled. Signed and paid and be done with as soon as we can. Unfortunately, due to global pandemic, we were not able to execute. That's what I told you in the beginning of the call. It's the same thing I'm telling you.
Okay, sir. Okay. And sir, could you tell me how much time it will take to consolidate the 12 subsidiaries in one entity, sir, in US? Like in 1 year or 6 months or 2 years? How much time it will take, sir?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Consolidate 12 entities in one entity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how much means 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? How much time it will take, sir?
How much time period you are saying?
Yeah, sir. I'm asking what time period. How much time period it will take? Like
how many years we are consolidating? So?
Sorry to interrupt. The participant had withdrawn his request, sir. Can we go ahead with the next?
I think my sense is he was asking me, why is it taking so long? So my answer is yes, it should not take so long, but there have been global shutdowns and we are continuing to work with them. And as soon as it is done, we'll inform the market. So kindly go to the next question.
Yes. Next question comes from Jay Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Good evening, sir. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for solving most of our concerns and addressing them, because it is like most of the community is scared of all the frivolous things that goes on. But obviously, we have trust in you. So I just have one question with regard to the business. So what do you think about the landscape of India as a market for us? Our share of business from India is pretty less. So do you see that going up in the coming years? And could you give some could you just share something about it?
I think it's a very relevant, good question, sir. Very good question. What has happened? Maybe I'll take time because this is a very important question in my mind, and it relates to strategy that one needs to take in such situations. What happened if you look at the beginning of how internet started and how things started to evolve, say 1990s, and we started in 98, so we've been in business for 20 years. We've seen how things have transformed over the years. What happened is, Bay Area was the epicenter of all the evolution, and technologically new ideas were coming from there, whether it is Yahoo, Google, Facebook, you name it, everything came from the Bay Area. And over time, lot of solutions came from the US, and then other countries started to use those solutions. Other countries replicated. For example, in India, we had a search engine such as a Reday for something like that, and then there were Indian solutions. Similarly, there are Chinese solutions. Difference between India and China has been China blocked out a lot of outside applications to be used in China because it's a huge market. That actually helped them in a strategic way, where their player, whether it is a Baidu, which is a search engine, Alibaba or Tencent, which have now, they call it the big three of China. They are in the top 10 internet advertising companies in the world. So my point is, and then you take the next layer, which is, the owner of TikTok, for example. And they are listing on the Hong Kong exchange at a valuation of 70 billion. Not just the valuation, but the kind of business they created across the world. Today, when they closed down TikTok in India, there are people who are happy, there are people who are very unhappy because that was a big time pass. So they created these interesting solutions because of a closed environment. However, in India, from an Indian situation, we have solutions, but we have localized solutions. We have been a very service-oriented economy and business where we are trying to do IT outsourcing, and primarily all the biggest players are IT outsourcing. That needs to change, and we want to be one of those aspiring companies who actually, fortunately we have a global footprint. We're already there in so many locations, and we see this as an opportunity for us to go position ourselves, come up with solutions, buy, build, whatever it takes to create better and visible, globally visible solutions for the world. We should actually, of course, help the business in a big way, also leverage in this context. Recently, Reliance has signed up with Facebook, like you're well aware. That's probably why your question is coming from. What are we doing for India? And we have been very focused on, first, number one, looking at global business, understanding trends, which is what is happening outside. The trend that is happening in India now, with Reliance Jio and Facebook coming together and taking the internet to the Kirana store, is brilliant. I think it's brilliant, and the opportunities will open up in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And we are looking at how we can be part of that. I'm not saying I'll go sign up with Reliance. I'm just saying it will create a lot of opportunity for players to do business in this area. We are looking very closely at it. This is about how much I can disclose and talk about right now. But I am very excited about India opportunity right now. I hope I have answered your question, sir.
Yes, sir. That's pretty good. That's it from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question comes from Ayan Biren, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, Suresh. Good evening.
Hey, good evening. How are you again? Please tell me.
I'm doing good. Hope you are doing good too. Hello?
Yes, sir. What can I answer for you?
Suresh, I just wanted to know if you can give us a layout about the AI and ML. I mean, the future, I know you can't give us anything in detail, but something at least where we know where we are going. Some product, going to bring out something.
Thank you for asking.
For example, I just give an example. Like my sister-in-law, she's a physiotherapist. So she, along with a couple of partners from US, Australia, and UK, they're collecting data about all the how the treatment of a patient and feeding it into and trying to get out an easier solution with medication and the exercises used and which way the patient is treated faster. So something in those terms, if you can use, if you can help out medical, doctors or something.
Let me elaborate here. I think we have started initially we started to apply AI and to digital marketing. We did few solutions where through your regular algorithmic approach, you try to understand and you try to come up with the best match between a product and the buyer. Suddenly starts to get even more comprehensive when you start using AI ML, because you start looking at patterns. AI ML is nothing but understanding patterns and embedding into the system and actually making it like how a small baby learns how to walk, how to speak, how to grow, how to be in the world, right? It's very similar. It's a neural network. It's a learning intelligent computer. Now, this is just the beginning of its application. If you go back to say 1995 years and talk about internet on possibilities, People would say, you can do a couple of searches, you can send emails. Anything I tell you about AI ML today will be like that, because this is like the internet of 95. There are numerous applications which will take over. This will just completely change how brick and mortar business works today, how processors work today, how digitization is going to happen. Digitization is not taking a bunch of things and putting a software to follow the automation. That is old. Now you're talking about much smarter way. As an example, I can take. I can go on. I just stop. I just waste everybody else's time because this is a very vast subject. And so what happens here is, as an example, I was told there was a security, 40 security men were guarding a mall in Chicago. And they implemented, with the videos and all that, they implemented an AI ML system which actually replaced the 40 with 4 people. Because they already have a smart system watching. They don't need all those guys. As an example, if a cat would jump over, an old computer would say, oh, somebody is intruded. But a human being will say, it's a cat, don't worry. But an AI ML system can also say it's a cat and not worry. Just as an example. So like that, the applications are endless. And we are already working in agriculture right now. We are working in e-commerce. We are also working in medical. We are working with a very large player in medical in terms of one of the largest internet companies in the world for their colonoscopy analysis. It actually helps the doctor identify in case they miss some very obvious area. And also speed and recovery process like you are talking about.
Okay.
So this is a very huge area.
The reason I'm even asking this is because we are like old guys over here, like invested, and we want to remain, like I and a couple of guys, like when we spoke, we want to remain invested in this company, not just when we reach a certain point of time, we just don't sell off and want to. So we want to know, where we are going, where we are headed. So our beliefs, even from time to time grow stronger.
I would love
that
to
was
talk
the main
more,
picture.
but I would love to talk more on this. But right now, it's like first stage is we need to, before the arrow goes forward, you have to pull back a bit.
Yes. I'm not asking. I mean, we are working on it. That's what I think.
Getting ready. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's all I want to ask this. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Good to hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Last question for the day comes from Pawan Kumar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Pawan. Please tell me.
Sir, I just want to know the progress in IoT, sir, Internet of Things, because I heard your interview that you want to make this company as a synonym for IoT, just like Google in search engine.
Right. Yeah, we started, we were one of the early guys to start doing banks which are IoT enabled, and we can start, tracking and actually providing solutions to wherever one is. We do have a few solutions set up in the background. We launched something called LYCOS Live about 5 years ago. And we were not very successful in taking off because it required a lot more investment to enter into a consumer space. And we did not want to hurt the business that is actually doing well, so we kind of had to walk slow on that. So we are waiting for, a little more free cash flow to start appearing into the company, where we will reopen, start looking at a few consumer or at least business to business but IoT related solutions that there is opportunity for us to grow. That's a broad answer because I don't think I can tell about the details of it in such a short call. And if you like to talk to me, please figure out, we'll set up a time. I can explain other things like that.
It's okay, sir. I understand. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being on the call.
Yeah, wish you all the best.
And your trust of the company. And we will continue to work on making sure, we meet all the commitments we make. Kindly bear with us. Sometimes these things take a little more time than we expect, but we are on track. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference for today. Thank you for your participation and for using Dur Sabha's conference call service. You may disconnect your lines now.